Hi everyone, in this video what we will do is we will see how to create a family that is ceiling based. So sometimes it happens that you want to be creative in creating a ceiling. So let's say you created a ceiling in a residential unit and now you want to apply a custom, let's say a wood based or wooden panel based ceiling to that ceiling that you have inserted. So for that, we can create a family type that is ceiling based. So to do that, let's go to the main menu, and this time we'll go to new, and instead of project, we'll be selecting a family. So click on family and you have to select a template. So what we'll be selecting? We'll be selecting a generic model, but we want a generic model ceiling based because we want to create it for the ceiling. So click on it, click open, and what it does, it creates a blank ceiling based, a generic family. So here what you see here, this is the ceiling. As you can see, it highlights. So when I hover my mouse, it says it's the ceiling. So this is the ceiling. This represents the ceiling. And whatever you will draw here will be converted to a type or an instance when you insert that into the model. As you can see here in the project browser, under ceiling plan, the reference level is the ceiling level. So when you insert it in the model, it will always go to that reference level, which in this case is the ceiling level. So if your house has a ceiling that is 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet, it will automatically go and insert at that particular reference height. So let's go ahead and create a family. To do that, what we will do is we'll first create a framework. So we see that there are two reference planes. So if I hover my mouse, there's a reference plane and there's another reference plane. What we need to create a framework that will define the shape of the wooden family that we want to create. So let's say I want to create a very squarish panel. So I want a square wood panel to hang, to suspend from a ceiling. So let's create that. So let's click on reference plane under datum. Let's pick line and let's give it an offset of 2 feet. And let's come here and let's pick two lines, one on this side and one on the other side. Let's create two on one this side, on one another side. So this square right now that you see here is the shape of the ceiling that we would be creating. So click on modify. So what we did, we created a framework of these datum reference planes. And these planes will define the shape and the size of the square panel or rectangular panel that we want to create or we want to suspend from the ceiling. So before we do anything else, what we need to do, we need to dimension it and we need to parameterize it. To do that, I want you to click on annotate, click on aligned, click on this line, and then this line. And let's put this dimension somewhere here. Now when you do that, you see that there is an option. We know that it's 2 feet and 2 feet. So instead of giving a dimension, why not make these equal? So there is a sign that says equal. And right now it's crossed. So when you click on it, you enable it. And what it does, it makes these two dimensions equal. And in that case, what we'll do, we'll define another dimension, and that is this dimension. So what we have done, we said that this total dimension is 4 feet and these two dimensions are equal. So that it automatically is gonna divide this into equal parts. Now, if you want to parameterize this dimension, we can do that and we'll see that later on. So we have done that on one side, let's do it on the other side. So we've done it on X, let's do it on Y dimension. So let's click on annotate, align, let's give dimension to this, and place this dimension. Let's enable equal and then dimension this and this. It's the same thing as on the X axis, we did the same dimensioning on the Y axis. Once you've done that, let's parameterize it. So I want you to click on this dimension. When you click on this dimension, there's some contextual tool that appear. So there's under label dimension, you see this, there is a tool that's called create parameter. I wanted to click on it and I wanted to type in here length. So type length, click OK. What we did is we created a parameter which is a type parameter which is called length, and dimension of which is right now 4 feet. Let's click on the other side, another dimension. Let's click to create a new parameter and let's call it width. So what we are doing, we are creating a parameter which is a types. So click OK. So what we did, we created a framework of 4 feet by 4 feet square, and we equalize that to tell the program that that would be centered on the ceiling. And then we created two parameters, length and width, and assigned those parameters to these two dimensions. The reason we are doing this is if I go to the family type, if I click on it, and if you see it here, if I want to change the dimension of length from 4 feet to 6 feet and I click apply, you see it automatically changes it and it equalizes both the sides. If I want to change on the y dimension, on the y-axis, and make it 6 feet, which is now 4 feet, click apply and you see it, and click OK, it has changed it. So you see the importance or the significance of parameterizing dimensions. When we load this particular family in a project, we will have these parameters available and we can actually give a dimension of our choice in that project. So that's the benefit of using parameters. So once that is done, I wanted to go to create. What we want to do, we want to create an extrusion. So we want to create a square shape and we want to give a depth by which we want program to extrude that to create a wooden panel. So let's click on extrusion. All you have to do is draw a shape. So let's pick line and let's pick these 4 sides of the square. Let's create a closed loop. Once that is done, click OK. So it has created an extrusion. If you want to visualize that, let's go to front view, maybe back view, and you see that it has created an extrusion. So right now it has created an extrusion which is on the other side, which is above the ceiling. So let's change it. So we want the extrusion start at -4 inches. So what it does is, what we are doing is, we are telling that the start of the extrusion should be -4 inches. That means 4 inches below the ceiling. And we want it to end at -8 inches. So if we do that, so this is how we want. We want this to suspend by 4 inches, and that's why we said that the start of the extrusion should be -4 inches, and we want thickness 4 inches, so we want to end extrusion at 8 inches, -8 inches. So if this is the ceiling, this is the wooden panel which will be suspending by this height 4 inches. Now we don't have to live with this 4 inches height, so we can dimension this suspended height. We can also dimension the thickness of the panel, and we can parameterize these so that we can change them when we load this family into the project. So let's go ahead and dimension these two. Click on align dimension, click on this dimension, and then click on this. Okay. Once we are done, click on modify, select one dimension. So this is the suspended height. So let's create a new parameter and let's call it suspended height. Okay. Click OK. Let's click on another dimension. Let's create another parameter and let's call it panel depth or maybe thickness. Click OK. So now we created these two parameters. So if I go in type properties in family type, and right now the suspended height is 4 inches and panel thickness is 4 inches. So if I change it to 8 inches, that means If I want my panel to suspend by 8 inches, if I apply, you see that it automatically changes that. So these parameters will be available to us when we load this family into the project, so we can modify these parameters as desired. So if the panel thickness I want 2 inches, click on 2, click apply, and it will automatically adjust. So like this we can do it. So click OK. So what we did, we created a square panel that we want to suspend from a ceiling. Now before we do anything, let's go back to the family type and let's create another parameter. What we also want a user, when a user uploads this to a project, to specify a desired material. Okay, so let's create a parameter. So if you come down and you see this, you hover your mouse, you can edit a parameter. So there's a parameter here, you want to edit this, you can do that. You can create a new parameter, you can delete a parameter, so you can go through these tools. So let's create a new parameter here and let's call it material. Okay, and let's put it under the category of material. Okay, and it automatically selects materials and finishes here. So we can create it a type parameter or an instance parameter. Okay, so click OK. Right now let it be type parameter. Click OK. So you see here it automatically creates this parameter. Click apply and OK. And now when you go here and select this particular panel under material in the properties, click here, and now what you can do, you can say to the program that the material of this panel, which is defined here, should be connected to the material parameter that we created. So what we are doing is we're linking that material parameter which we just created to this panel. Okay, so click OK. So what happens now? You see that we can no more select any material from here. Why? Because we have parameterized that material. So once this is done, I wanted to save it. So when you save this, it saves as a RFA family file. It's not a project file. So let's browse through and let's go to BIM video. Let me create a folder and let's call it Revit families. Let's open this folder and let's call this ceiling 1. Click save, and because this is already open, we can go and say load into project. So what it does, the project that was open, it will automatically load it. You can also go to load family and load it by navigating to that folder. But now it has already been loaded. If we need to insert this ceiling, we need to go to a ceiling plan. So let's go to the first floor ceiling plan here and let's first insert a ceiling, a plain ceiling. So let's go to ceiling and let's create an automatic ceiling. So I have created this ceiling here. Click on modify. So let's click on component and the ceiling appears. Let's go ahead and put it here, and it will warn you that none of the created elements are visible in reflected ceiling plan. The reason it's not visible because it is the ceiling height is 8 feet here, and the ceiling that the family that we created is suspended, so it's below that. So that's okay. So click on modify, and in order to visualize that, you can bring this section here. Let's go back to our section view, and you see here that this ceiling, that panel is now created. So you can see that in first floor view right here. So if I click on it and if I go to edit type, you see here these are the parameters that we created when we created the family: the length, the width, the thickness of the panel, and suspended height. So we can now change it. If you want this ceiling not to be squarish, and let's say you want the length to be 4 feet, you can apply it and it becomes 4 by 6. If you want it to be 4 by 4 instead of 6 by 6, you can do that. Okay, click apply. So it automatically assumes the dimension that we are changing here. If you want the thickness of the panel to be, let's say, 3 inches, it will do that. And if you want it to suspend by 6 inches, or let's say by 4 inches, it will do that. So let's make it 6 by 6. click apply, click OK. Okay, now we can also give it a material. So when you click on it and click on edit type, now we can go and click here and give it a material. Let's say I want to give it a material of wood and a walnut wood. Click on walnut, click apply, click OK. So what I did, I applied a material which is walnut. Click OK again. So if I want to visualize this, let's go and put a camera here. So from here I want to watch this way. So you see here, if I extend this, so that's the ceiling that I have, and I have this panel suspended from that ceiling by 6 inches. So if I go in realistic view, I see that it is a walnut wood panel that has been suspended by 6 inches and its thickness is 3 inches. I can click on here, I can again change its properties. So let's say if I want it to be thicker, 4 inches, click apply and it will change its dimension. Click OK. I can also change, click on it, and if I want to make it aluminum, the material, I can do that. I can go back to the material properties and select aluminum or glass or anything I want. Let's select glass. Click OK. Click OK. So now it's a glass ceiling that I have created. So I can render it and then I can visualize it. So just to show, I just rendered an image of the family that we had created. So I rendered this in a medium quality. Thanks for watching.